Hello, my friends. I'm so happy to be with you. I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, and I have this very personal quest that I hope that you share of getting people healthier. I just love to see healthy, vibrant people. I love to see people going on a picnic, taking a trip to anywhere, having fun, loving each other, going to a nice dinner every now and then, or sitting in the couch in the evening and having a cup of tea and watching an old movie, whatever. Just be able to live our lives and enjoy them. Get every morning very happy, go to work, etc. That's my quest. My quest is making sure that you continue to have your daily life. Sometimes we think that I'm getting a little bit bored. It's the same routine. I do the same thing day in, day out, etc. And after COVID, where everything was so distorted, and then I hope this new war is not going to last too long. Nevertheless, we're feeling the problem. And I think of all those people that were affected directly by either the pandemic or the war. And you say, probably they would love to be in that boring routine right now. I was watching the news about the war, and I saw a young woman, probably 30 years old, and she was crying, and then all she wanted, she said, all I want back is having to get up early and hate the alarm clock and be in a rush and go to work. I have to deal with my co-workers and my boss and have to listen to him. All those things I used to think I didn't like, I would love to have them today. So it's very important that we say we have to make sure that we continue living our life. And many times you might think it's a little bit boring, but think of it again. Now, with all these circumstances, you say, well, I think I'd rather have this boring life than having a very agitated life because I'm a refugee, because a bomb came close to my house, because my work's finished, because someone in my family died of COVID, because my company is going broke because it doesn't have any more business because of one reason or another. And no, you don't want that. We should really learn to love routine. We should really learn to love what we do every day. And yes, we can have the excitement and the happiness of searching for a new job, searching for new opportunities, moving from one city to another and so forth. But that still is happiness. And all we have to do every day, every morning, is thank God for the blessings and really think that everything that we do every day is happiness. If we start to do that, we're going to be a lot happier than if we're not. Because you never know when things can go wrong. And there are a lot of things that are beyond our capacity. Let's say, for example, the pandemic, that was well beyond anything we could have expected and everything we could do. And the other one is like a war. Well, that really upsets anybody's lives to the limit. You could lose everything you have, and all you have left is your life, and just to go and anywhere and look for shelter and look for food and that is not happiness at all. So having to get up in the morning and going to work and dealing with some people that we might not necessarily love or be very excited about being around them, etc., might not be the best description of happiness. But when you think of it, that's really what our daily life is about, and we should learn to love anyone around us, to help anyone that's around us, and to make sure we oversee that that person has the best from us, because in return, we're going to be happier every day. And just recently, I have seen a new patient. I see new patients every day. And then this is a man who was very successful businessman, 61 years old. So, I mean, for those of you that 30, that might be old. For me, that's you're on your prime. Because as some people jokingly say, 60 is the new 40s. So when you're 60, you're in complete control of your life. You already have established all your work, you have already established all your relationships, you already have a home, you have a house, you have a car, you have traveled, you're more seasoned. So you learn how to, you know how to deal with life, and you know how to take advantage of everything. So you're really on your prime, you're really being very happy. And all of a sudden, this man tells me he starts feeling something like a little bit of diarrhea that doesn't go away. And then he has a little bit of pain when he has a BM. And he starts noticing few things. He goes to the doctor and they find a rectal cancer. I mean, the worst of the news. I have always thought that none of us know how we're going to react, how we're going to respond. What are we going to feel if we ever are faced with that possibility? Having what we think is a simple symptom doesn't go away. You go to the doctor does some tests, some x-rays, and next time you sit with the doctor tells you, you have cancer. I have lived all my life with people that have gotten the news, and let me tell you that I still don't get used to it. I still have a very deep feeling of sorry for the person, a lot of compassion, and of course immediately I jump to the fact that what can we do? Where are we at this point? Because many cancer patients will come to you and tell you, you know, doctor, I think I did this wrong. I think I didn't take care of myself. No, that's not the time for regrets. That's not the time to go and say, what if? No, it's the time to say, where are we at this moment? What are the conditions? What is the level of involvement of the tumor with what organ affecting which functions? Because we want to start immediately to recoup that organ, to recoup that function, to ease the symptoms and the problems of the patient and make sure we are helping. So I talked to him. I was, as usual, sorry and compassionate about the condition. I mean, my heart was really out to him, and we began to talk. And he started, like many patients, as I was telling you, thinking what could have he been doing wrong. And I said, no, let's not go to that part. It's not the time for guilt trips. It's a time for action. This is what we have. This is your problem. Right now, he had a lot of pain with bowel movements, bowel movements were very difficult. He was trying to take things like laxatives and fiber and things like that, thinking that that would help him. And then we started looking at everything and then making a long-term plan. Number one, what you're going to do right now. Number two, what is going to be our long-term plan. And the first thing I did is completely the opposite. Reverse everything he was doing about food and say, no, you don't need more bulk. You need the opposite. Because right now, the colon cancer is kind of blocking the way for the bowel movement to go through, and you need a smaller BM rather than a big one. That works very well when you're healthy, when your colon, when your rectum, where everything works fine. Yes, we need fiber for many, many reasons. I think we have talked about it. If not, remember, you can always ask a question. And but in this case, I thought we're going to deal with it as if you had an ulcerative colitis, for example, which is becoming more and more frequent. Ulcerative colitis is right there in so many people, particularly younger people, in chronic colitis. It's right there with many people because we have completely damaged the intestinal flora, what the normal intestinal flora should be. And we're going to do a program just to discuss that. But it's really critical what we're doing with this. So what I did is I put him on a very low residue diet, which is like you can have a scrambled egg, you can have some fish, you can have steamed rice, you can have cooked in water potatoes. You can even make a mashed potato without the peel. You can use salt and pepper, of course, that will not affect you at all. You can use real butter, which is going to make it very tasty and it's going to help you also. And then if you start doing that, you're going to be fed, you're going to be in good shape, but the volume of the evacuation is going to be so much smaller that you're going to be able to deal with it a lot better. In only 4 days, he was very happy, very satisfied that he was being able to move his bowel a lot easier without a lot of suffering, and that the pain was going down. And of course, because pain is inflammation. And if you control inflammation, you control the pain. So he started looking at results. And then we continued to make the plan on how we could help him. And the way we have helped him can help many people affected with cancer. So don't go anywhere. Stay where you are. Hello, my friends. I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, and we're talking about cancer. And you're listening to this program through the courtesy of Truth Be Told Radio Network that broadcasts every Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and repeats the program every Saturday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if you want to listen to any given part of the program, if you want to share any part of the program, which I would deeply appreciate that you do it, with any friend, with anybody you know, co-worker, etc., all you have to do is search Truth Be Told Radio Network in Spotify, and you're going to have literally dozens of programs that relate to the same subject: your health, your stamina, your well-being, your health resources, how to fight a disease, how to deal with health problems. That's what we do, that's what we talked about. We're also present in every single platform of social media. You can go to YouTube, you can go to Twitch, you can go to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have our own website, biocarehospital.com, and also we have a toll-free number, which is 800-701-7345. And I would encourage you to ask your questions, make your comments, because if you have any medical question, any doubt about anything, all you have to do is send us your question, call on the toll-free number. Nothing is attached to anything. You will not have to pay anything. You will not have to give me even your name or your forget about credit cards or anything like that. It's just going to be a friend's conversation, and you can ask things that might be important to you, and you don't really have anybody to turn to and talk about it. To give you a very simple example, I had a lady that sent me the question like whether she could dye her hair while she was getting chemotherapy. So she probably was shy to ask her doctor or the technicians doing the therapy. Nevertheless, she found a friend that she could talk to and be completely anonymous. So I'd love to answer questions, because it's a lot better to ask a question than to have an important doubt. Much worse, to make an important mistake. So by asking for guidance is always wise. So just do it. Today we're talking about cancer, and we're talking about a particular case of a man, 61 years old, that developed a cancer in the colon, and how he was suffering from pain, from a lot of things. To make things worse, he went to the doctor, and the doctor prescribed what's prescribed in these cases, important painkillers, and he turned out to be allergic to opium-derived painkillers, which are probably the most effective for these cases, but he could not take them. Because the first dose he got really seriously ill because of an allergic reaction. So they had to stop it. So a lot of this pain was because the tumor in the rectum is inflamed. And that inflammation brings pain. Inflammation and pain go always together. If inflammation goes down, pain goes down. And you know it. If you ever left your finger by shutting the car's door, you know that it hurts bad. But as days go by, the pain is going to be going away because the inflammation is going away. So it's going to take some time, but it's going to do it. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. This man was trying to push bowel movements using fiber, using fiber-producing foods like lots of vegetables and chard and green leafy vegetables, which of course are very good for a normal diet, but not in this case. So we went to a low residue diet, which is like rice, cooked potatoes, eggs, fish. Fish is fantastic. Fish not only gives you almost no residue, but also offers you an excellent source of protein. See, and you can add to your diet, you can use butter, you can use cream, you can use, of course, salt and pepper. So it is not such a difficult diet to follow. Actually, in many ways, is very simple. Jello, if you want a snack and you have a problem like this, Jello is your best friend. So he started doing that. In only 4 days, the pain started to go down. His effort to move the bowel came down like to 1/4 of what it used to be. So he was he was very grateful. He was feeling good. Then that was the time to say, okay, we have taken care of the most pressing problem. Now we're facing long-time treatment plan. And for that, the first thing we have to do, the very important thing we have to do is we have to make sure we can manage inflammation. Why? Because when we get inflammation responses, it's not only the pain that bothers us, is that the cells that are inflamed release a number of chemicals that have a lot of actions throughout the body, affect the immunity, affect the hormonal system, affect the nervous system, affect every single function in the body, because these are very powerful substances. When we have inflammation in the body has a massive response. And depending on what the problem is, it could be more or less manageable, but could be very, very important. And when you have cancer, the inflammation response is very big. Think of a tumor that not only is producing a lot of damage, but it's growing within another organ, going within a very specific area that was not designed to house that tumor. So as the tumor grows, it breaks cells, it breaks ligaments, it breaks a lot of things. It's like going inside. Let me give you an example. If you put, let's think for a second that you could put a balloon in one of your walls and you have enough energy to blow it. It's going to crack the wall. The wall is going to come down. And when the wall comes down, part of the roof is going to come down. You cannot put another structure within a different one, make it bigger, and there's no room for two. One thing is for sure, that's basic physics. You cannot put a solid thing within another solid thing without disrupting the area where you're trying to grow. So what happens with cancers in general is that as the tumor grows, the tumor breaks a lot of tissue, damages a lot of tissue. What is the body going to do? It's going to react against the tumor because it identifies the tumor as a non-self structure. So you have to fight it. And how the body fights these things? With inflammation. By producing a lot of enzymes, by bringing a lot of proteins and cells of immune nature, by bringing what's called the macrophages, which are like the heavy artillery of the body, to go and bite and kill and destroy the cancer cells, and all that creates havoc inside your body. And you don't feel good, and it hurts, and it's painful, and you lose the function of that organ in a way because it's so upset, it's so damaged because of the cancer growth that you have to stop inflammation. Of course, on one hand, inflammation is the response of the body against the tumor. But what I want to do is like if I had a very mean dog at home and there is an intruder and the dog goes against my intruder and it's trying to kill him, bite him, whatever, and I want to take care of this intruder and give it to the police. The first thing I have to do is I have to calm my dog. I have to say, come on, that's okay, I'll take care of it from now on. You follow me? If you don't do that, you cannot carry this guy into the patrol car with the dog biting him. You have to detach them. And that's what we do when we are talking about anti-inflammatory strategies. Our patients go through a number of therapies and strategies that are going to diminish the aggressivity of the immune system, are going to diminish the markers of inflammation and all these substances of inflammation, because it has been shown that when inflammation is very high, we lose our capacity to damage the tumor. This inflammatory response works very well in the early stages of the tumor. Once the tumor gets to a certain size, and we're going to start another form of therapy, we want to diminish the inflammatory response, the inflammatory markers level, because that will help to make our treatment more efficient. And we want to shorten times, and we want to improve results. That's what we do, and we'll continue talking about it. I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, and I've been talking about cancer. I'm talking about cancer because it's a very dire condition that we are living with, particularly in the last few decades. And if anybody tells you that cancer is becoming more prevalent because we're living longer, ask these people not to fool you. We have more cancer because we have more cancer, not because we're living longer. If that were true, we would see cancer in people 80, 90 years old. But we're looking at people with cancer very young, 40s, 50s, 60s. To me, that's very young. And I've been talking about today a case of a 61-year-old person. That's young. 60s are the new 40s. At 60, you are in your prime. You're doing a lot of things. You have complete control of your life, your belongings, your relationships, you name it. You have seen the world. You know what you want. You're planning your retirement. There's so many things you have for you when you're 60 that I cannot even begin to tell you. And if somebody tells you that you have cancer at this point, it has to be very disappointing. I mean, in itself, you've been living all your life, working hard, preparing for the best time of your life, for your retirement, for your traveling, for whatever you have in mind, and now everything is out of the picture because somebody told you you have cancer. So you have to act rapidly. And that's what we do at BioCare. When people tells me I have cancer, I immediately think, what are we going to do? I hate to discuss, well, it's because you did this, well, it's because you had that, it's because... No. We're here. This is the time to make decisions, to make a plan, to see how we're going to get out of this. See? And once we start doing it, then is when we see results. And we have to put things together to say, this is what we want to do. And so far, we have discussed in particular inflammation. Why inflammation? Because inflammation is a huge component of cancer. It's a huge component of cancer. Why? Because tumor and cancer, they're really almost equal terms. People tell you I have a tumor. People tell you I have a cancer. Why? Because tumor, which comes from a Greek word which means something a bulky, a lump, a mass. You see, that's what tumor means in Greek, something that goes into your body and just breaks everything. It's like if I put a stone inside of your body. And the worst part is that it started like one single cell or a little group of cells. So they start growing and damaging all the tissue around them. And that creates a huge inflammatory response. And that hurts. Remember, inflammation is pain. So that hurts, that bothers you, that puts you in bad shape. And to make things worse, to make matters worse, when we have very high inflammatory levels, then a lot of therapies do not work well. Because when we get it, one of the advantages of inflammation is that huge inflammatory levels allow for tissues not to die so soon, but to be able to sort out of problems without dying until help has arrived. So let's say you punch your finger with a hammer. Those inflammatory levels are going to tell cells that were greatly damaged, no, don't die. Even if you're in bad shape, just stay there, hold it until new cells come to replace you. Then you can live in peace. But in the meantime, you should continue living. And inflammation, in a way, helps cancer to survive because it protects it from a number of circumstances, biological circumstances, that in a normal cell will make the cell very destroyable by the immune system and even subject to something called apoptosis, which is self-death. The cell that knows it's not working well, is not doing the job, is not any longer needed, is going to destroy itself. That's a process called apoptosis. It's very normal, it's very natural, it's life-saving, is everything, like any other function that God provided us with. It's just a blessing that we have it. Well, inflammation will stop it. Again, because when we have damaged tissue, we want to preserve that tissue until help comes around. But when it works on a cancer, it really protects the cancer. So we have to lower the levels of inflammation so we can attack the cancer. See, so BioCare is by definition anti-inflammatory. The type of food, the type of rest, the type of targeted supplementation, the type of everything we do, hyperbaric oxygen, oxygen therapies, ultraviolet radiation of the blood, all of them are going to address inflammation. And our goal is to diminish the inflammatory levels of the blood so everything else we're going to do can be a lot more effective. And if it's more effective, we're going to have a more successful response in a shorter period of time. We have big number of people that are very happy that they came. And a very common comment is, I wish I would have known before this existed. So don't be one of them. You can go to our website, you can go to our Facebook. There are a lot of resources in there, not only what I'm saying, not only about the hospital, but also about how you can keep your health. Because the most important part, and that's what I talk every day, every single day about, is you do not have to have cancer. We might have a great therapy. We might do wonderful things with our programs. But I don't want you to get cancer. So that's why it's very important that you go to Spotify and search for Truth Be Told Radio Network and listen to other programs about prevention, about 100% bypassing the chance of getting cancer. You deserve better. And all we're talking about is about self-care, about BioCare, about being conscientious enough to know that if I have a fine piece of machinery, I have to know how to work with it. I have to know how to take care of it. I have to know what respect of this machine and how make sure that it continues to deliver the quality of services that it has given me up to today. That's what we talk about. So, in the unfortunate case that you have cancer, of course we have a protocol for you. And I was saying one of the biggest part of it is anti-inflammatory processes. And if you're in any doubt of what to do or how to address the problem, go to Facebook, go to Instagram, go to the social media of your choice, Twitch, YouTube, you name it, and ask a question. It's going to be free, no strings attached. You can call 800-701-7345 and say, I want to talk to the doctor. I want to talk to one of the doctors and say, Doctor, I have this problem. What would you do? What do you think? How you can help me? You don't necessarily have to come. There are a lot of good advices we can give you. All you have to do is pick up the phone and let other people know. If you listen to any of these broadcasts that you like, search Truth Be Told Radio Network on Spotify and tell me you should listen to this because I heard somebody in your family had cancer. You see, when we find ourselves in front of those circumstances, we need guidance. We need some light. We need somebody willing to help us and with the knowledge to help us. So just don't go anywhere. Don't ask your neighbor. You have a professional team you can go to because we can help you. We can help you very much to make healthy choices. So, once my patient has gone down with these inflammatory markers, then it's the time to act with a number of other things. Cancer hates oxygen. So, there's a group of therapies that's going to be called Oxidative Therapies, where oxygen plays a role, like oxygen itself or like ozone, which is a different molecular form than the oxygen we breathe in and out every day. Is the smell in a rainstorm. It's ozone. But it's very healing. And it's very aggressive against cancer cells. Cancer cells hate it. And when you do hyperbaric oxygen, when you do oxygen flow therapy during the other programs that we do, nutritional, targeted supplementation, intravenous support, immune support, etc., you are doing at the same time a constant flow of oxygen. Oxygen is medicine. And when you do it together, you can tell the difference. So that's what you have to know. That's what you have to read about. You can call 800-701-7345 and request a full brochure that you can read with your family. And you need more than one, tell the operator you need 2 or 3. But make sure you get the right information. But we have to talk even more. We have more things for you. So stay with us. I'll be back. My dear friends, I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, and I'm talking about cancer. And I'm talking about different things about cancer. The how, I don't know how to say this, but the cancer comes in your life in the worst possible time. And that's one thing that I have seen with all the years I have been working with cancer patients. You're planning a wedding and somebody gets cancer. You're planning a trip and somebody gets cancer. You are having great plans to do something and you come with cancer. I don't know, it doesn't mean, skip the possibility of ruining your plans and life, and it does it in such with such quality, with such that you cannot go anywhere. You just have to live with it. You're doing a lot of things, and then all of a sudden you go to the doctor, and the doctor says you have cancer. Everything falls down. The wedding, the trip, the plans, your retirement, everything you're planning is going to go out of the window. And cancer has that, it is so good at doing those things that I really hate it. That's why for many years I have been in the quest of saying, well, I have news for you, cancer. I'm going to try to get people not to get cancer. I want to try to make sure that those people will continue on with their lives and plans, that they will not develop this terrible disease that is so many times deadly. I'm going to get on the way of your plans, cancer. I'm going to block you. I'm going to tell people that technically, scientifically, statistically, has been proven that cancer does not have to happen. And that if my father or my mother or both of them had cancer, that I still have probably more work to do, but still chances of bypass you, cancer, anyway. So you will not have the chance to destroy my life, to destroy my wallet, to destroy my well-being, and everything else. I'm going to try to do it, and that's what I do. That's why I want you to listen to all these programs. That's why I want you to get the message. That's why I want you to go to Spotify and search for Truth Be Told Radio Network. And you're going to have more than 100 broadcasts like this. And you can go to the social media of your choice and read about advices and read about points of view. We publish them every week, twice a week, 3 times a week, because I'm trying to send the message. I hate cancer, and I want to make the possibility of you getting cancer as thin as possible. I want you to bypass it completely. I want you to go to the end of your life and say, I'm old and never got cancer because I listened and planned. Because believe me, even in the most successful cancer patients, it's never been fun. It's never been easy. It's never been inexpensive. So why do I want to get into a problem that I know ahead of time that's going to destroy all my plans, that's going to kill my finances? Why do I want to do that? If somebody is telling me that I can go around it. And it's well-based, I repeat, it's scientific. It's an absolute scientific point that you can keep cancer away from your life. And I'm not saying it. You can read it. You can go to the website. You can look for. You can go to Google. You can go wherever you want to and say, "Is cancer preventable?" And you're going to find, yes, it is preventable. And of course, they're going to give you figures. 40% of the cancer cases, that's what the Center for Disease Control tells you, 40% of cancers could be avoided if we adopt a different lifestyle, if we take certain supplements. Which is that lifestyle? Which are those supplements? That's what Dr. Rodriguez is for. I'm going to go to social media and read what he posts. I'm going to go to YouTube and see the other people's experience at BioCare. I'm going to read about their experiences. I'm going to go to these shows and just sit back, listen to it, and share it with the people that I love. Because I tell you, it's not fun at all, even in the best of the cases. And we're talking today of cancer patients where we have an anti-inflammatory process, and then we have an oxidative therapy process, and then we can do, which is one of our most powerful tools, whole body hyperthermia. What is whole body hyperthermia? Raising the temperature of the body. Because when we get fever, when the temperature of our body goes up, that's a mechanism of defense. You don't have to be a genius, you don't have to be a doctor to understand that every time you get an infection, every time you get a problem, your temperature goes up. We get fever. Fever is the response of the body to many diseases. Why? Because raising the temperature of the body renders the immune system more active, more aggressive, more efficient. So, high temperature in the body is an important tool. Now, at BioCare Hospital, we put our patients under control temperature elevations. We raise the temperature of the whole body because cancer cells could be in your head, could be in your toe. People say, I have liver cancer. Yes, but it could go anywhere. And you have seen it. People say, I have a breast cancer, and then all of a sudden you find out that you have it in the bone, in the hip, in the brain, in your lungs. Cancers are really mean. They're going to look for other places to go, to establish. They need branches. If they're doing so well, if they're living so happy in your body, they need to create colonies and branches, metastasis. That's what they're called in medicine. But these are new groups of cells that are going to start a new tumor, that are going to grow, that are going to blow, that's going to destroy other organs of your body, that's going to create a lot of pain again, and you go back to square one, only multiplied 2-3 times. So whole body hyperthermia is a very important tool because I'm going to be able to raise your temperature under a very controlled condition and keep it there for about 2 hours. And I can repeat it again. And I can repeat it again because it's non-toxic, because it's not damaging, because it's, after all, mimicking a normal body response. And that's what we do at BioCare. So I want you to call 701-7345. Order the brochure of the hospital and read about all these things. The brochure of the hospital will not tell you about the hospital colors or decor or how nice we are is not a piece of publicity. It's a piece of information. When we created that brochure, we wanted to answer questions to people. So people could read about what is whole body hyperthermia. We wanted people to read about what you can do when you do colon therapy, what you can do when you use oxidative therapies, what will happen when you do stem cell therapy, how you do it, how it's implemented. Again, we can help you make healthy choices. All you have to do is ask. All you have to do is call us. Because if you go to YouTube and listen to a lot of people that can vouch about BioCare and the way they responded to therapies, you're going to see that you have an excellent possibility if you just call and ask. And then you could decide, no, I don't think this is for me, but you could decide, I think this is what I was looking for. If you're after non-toxic, holistic, and therapeutic responses and protocols, this is what BioCare will offer you. So the first thing you need is to sit down, to think about it, get the call. Again, you don't have to give us your name, and get information. Or go to your computer and look at our website, and look at our Facebook, and look at our social media, and see what other people have found. But I really love you to go to Spotify, to all our sites, because you're searching for ways not to get cancer. That would make my life complete. I'd love to see you one day in a trip without cancer. But if an unfortunate thing is that you have it, we're going to be here for you. Have a good day.